Scrap. It's crucial for progression in Rust, since it's used for researching, crafting, and trading. It's basically the currency in Rust, and just like in real life, we all want a lot of it. The more scrap you have, the more things you can buy, but you can't exactly work a 9 to 5 in Rust. Sometimes it's difficult to find enough scrap to get by, especially if you're new and you don't know where to look. So how do you get scrap in Rust? In this video, I'll go through what exactly scrap is used for, where and how to find it, and which methods I personally use. Just like my other Rust guides, this video is separated into 5 different sections, and you can find the timestamps for each section in the description down below or on the screen now. Finally, if you happen to enjoy or learn something from this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and eventually I'll be able to pay my writers. Now, let's get on to the video. Scrap is used for a multitude of things in Rust. Firstly, you need scrap to research various items such as tools, guns, and armor at the research table. Additionally, it's essential to crafting workbenches, which are used to craft the items that you've already researched. Third, scrap can be used to buy helicopters and boats from the bandit camp or fishing village. And finally, you can buy different things like guns, clothes, tools, and resources from bandit camp, outpost, and player shops. There are 2 main places where scrap can be found: in crates and in barrels. There are 3 different types of crates in Rust, and each crate contains a different amount of scrap. Regular crates contain 5 scrap, military crates contain 8 scrap, and elite crates contain 25 scrap. Also, each different crate type has a different loot pool of items which, when recycled, give different amounts of materials including scrap. In my opinion, the military crates are the best to go after since they give a base of 8 scrap and also have a chance to drop cameras, computers, and tech trash. Tech trash, when recycled, gives 20 scrap, and the cameras and computers also recycle into tech trash. There are also 3 types of barrels in Rust, however only 2 of them give scrap, the blue and the brown ones. The red barrels only drop low grade and crude oil. Both of the scrap-bearing barrels drop 2 scrap as well as a random component or item which can later be recycled for even more scrap. While almost every component in Rust recycles for scrap, I would recommend primarily focusing on collecting gears, springs, SMG bodies, semi-bodies, rifle bodies, fuses, tech trash, targeting computers, and finally, CCTV cameras. The yield from these components is anywhere from 10 to 60 scrap. First, and the safest way in my opinion, is to obtain scrap by farming the junk piles found in the ocean. They spawn fairly regularly off the shore of the island, and it's a really safe method since not many players use this due to the fact that you need a boat. However, if you manage to get your hands on a small fishing boat or a kayak, you basically have all of those junk piles to yourself. Next, you can farm the road. This just means going to the closest road and farming all of the barrels and crates that spawn along it. Furthermore, you may find a roaming scientist near one of the junk piles which, when killed, can drop 10 scrap. If you find a nice route near your base, you can regularly get upwards of 200 scrap every 20 to 30 minutes. If you go to the scrap exchange shop in the bandit camp, you can exchange items such as metal frags, crude oil, HQM, and keycards for scrap. I'd recommend this if you find yourself sitting on a surplus of these, otherwise keep them. While you're at the bandit camp, you can also test your luck and gamble your scrap at the scrap wheel, slot machines, or the poker tables. Obviously, you'll need to have a little scrap to start gambling, but if you get lucky, you can make some serious bank from here. As I've mentioned earlier in the video, you can recycle components for scrap. If you find yourself sitting on a bunch of components that you won't be using, recycle them. However, if you're recycling a large amount of components, I'd recommend going to a safe zone like Outpost or Bandit Camp so that people can't sneak up on you while you're recycling. Just be sure not to leave the recycling menu, otherwise some sneaky man may steal your components. Another method of getting large sums of scrap is by running monuments. Monuments have a large concentration of crates and barrels and are an excellent source of scrap. Depending on the monument, you can get anywhere from 100 to 500 scrap if you get lucky and recycle the components you get. The monuments that I would recommend are sewer branch, train yard, and water treatment. If you'd like to see me make a guide on a specific monument, please be sure to let me know in the comments. The tunnels are the newest map addition in Rust. They're a large underground system of tunnels which are protected by AI tunnel dwellers. These tunnels consist of multiple stations positioned around the map. I found that they're also a good source of scrap. From one station, I got 60 scrap without recycling components, and 260 scrap when I recycled all of the items that I got. If you pair 3 or 4 of these stations together, you can easily make over 1,000 scrap from one scrap run. If you have a blueprint for a certain item that other players may want, like garage doors or guns, you can set up your own player shop and sell those items for scrap. Just be sure to set up reasonable prices, otherwise no one will buy from your shop. If you let the shop do its thing overnight, you should come back to a nice stack of scrap. Finally, the last method that I have is PvP. If you see someone in a monument or coming out of outpost or bandit camp, they're most likely going to have some scrap on them. Just use your gun that you found using the help of my Where to Find Guns video and shoot them. It's that easy. That was a really good plug. Real smooth there. When it comes to gathering scrap, my favorite methods are farming roads and monuments, PvP, and gambling. I find that these methods usually have the highest scrap yield for me, and I also find them enjoyable. If you're just starting Rust, however, I'd recommend farming the junk piles out in the ocean because they're arguably the safest way of getting scrap. If you don't want to get scurvy though, try farming lower tier monuments like Sewer Branch and Dome, because geared players don't usually stick around there and you have a lower chance of dying. Well, that's it for this video, boys. If you found it helpful or enjoyable, please consider leaving a like. If you want to see more videos from me, click the subscribe button. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Also, I do stream on Twitch, and you can find the link to that in the description. Finally, I have a Discord server where me and the homies chill. So if you want to join a small friendly community, the link to my Discord server is in the description. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and don't get fucking scammed.